Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Crypto Empire, where we dominate the crypto market. My name is Connor, and happy Easter Sunday to everyone watching around the world. I hope you're all having an amazing day and great celebration. So let's get into this live stream because the market right now, it's been really slow and we haven't seen a lot of volatility at all. However, looking at things, that's about to change. And if my expectations are correct, we may pick up tonight, or more likely than not, it will be this week that the volatility will return to Bitcoin. So let's get into this live stream. Shout out to everyone in the live chat already here at the start of the live stream. I appreciate all of you guys. Be sure to smash that like button, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button as well. Shout out to everyone in the chat. We got FBS, Crypto Maniac 925, The Albert, as well as All Day Dre, Thomas Keffy, Dan Griffiths, Raphael, Niraj. Happy Easter, everyone. Appreciate all of you guys being here. Let's get into the stream. So right now, Bitcoin still trading below $85,000. It really hasn't seen too many moves recently. It's mainly been tapping resistance at 85K and rejecting from it. We'll look at the chart in a second. Ethereum is trading at 1581, got rejected today, trying to break out higher. Overall, altcoins are green. A lot of pumps, however, they have pumped directly into higher time frame resistance levels. So we're at a point where Bitcoin really not showing strength. Altcoins, a few of them are seeing capital rotated into them, especially coins like AVAX, Tau, Render, even Solana today. But overall, we don't really have any confirmation from the majors that we're actually going to break out here. So anyways, looking at the crypto bubbles top 100 on the day, Tau is up 14%, is the largest gainer out of the top 100. Render is up 4.3%, Fed up 6.1%. So AI coins seeing a little bit of a jump today. But overall, most things are plus or minus 5%. So really not too much going on the altcoin front, apart from a few select outliers, for example, Tau, at the current moment in time. Now let's get into the majors and then we'll go over individual altcoins. So when it comes to Bitcoin dominance first, USDT dominance, let's actually look at Bitcoin dominance first. Bitcoin dominance on the daily time frame. Let's look at the weekly time frame. So this is about to close another week green. All right, the weekly close is going to come in around 5.5 hours time from right now, and this is going to close green again. It does appear, and we know the level higher. All right, we know the level higher is at 66%. Some people are saying 67%, whatever, 66, 67. It's up here. It's up here. That would also complete the triple drive, which is a very ideal topping pattern on the higher time frame to then see the breakdown. All right, so I'm not quite sure. In fact, I am bullish on Bitcoin dominance. I was going to say I'm not quite sure on it rolling over yet. I don't think it's going to roll over from here. I don't think it's going to begin to start breaking down just yet. And of course, we needed to break down for altcoins to have the altcoin season that everyone so desires. However, looking at the chart, it doesn't look like it's quite ready to do that until it makes one last spike up, which isn't really a great thing if you're like super long altcoins right now. And it could work out for you because there is a chance we actually rip from here. Everything is based off of probabilities, but if I was a betting man, I would say that this is probably going to pump up to 66% before the eventual rollover and descend down to our macro target, which is going to be at 46% down here. All right, so that's Bitcoin dominance. And on this topic, I'll share with you this post that I think is very interesting, that a lot of, say, normal, call them retail, like people, following all the usual crypto Twitter accounts, they're all looking at this right now. So let's dig into this. So this guy's post, Weimar.x, he says the biggest alt season starts on April 20th. That's today, April 20th. By the way, this post is from April 17th on Friday. Or what was that? Thursday. So he says, historically, each alt season has started 340 days after the Bitcoin halving. So it sounds like he could potentially be using old, outdated models such as the 4-year cycle and the halving, and not taking into account that, Bitcoin topped before the halving. But anyways, let's continue. Altcoin market cap will hit 15 trillion this cycle. So he's saying the total too, which is currently below 1 trillion. It's at 950 billion. We have a guy here saying it's going to hit 15 trillion. The altcoin market cap is going to hit 15 trillion this cycle, according to this guy. That's a big number. That's a 15x on the total too. As you can see, my target up here I have as listed as the bull targets at 2.5 trillion. This guy's calling for 15 trillion. Kool-Aid much? Drinking some Kool-Aid. Anyway, he says here's a list of some potential altcoins, and we're not going to go through them. But this guy is basically saying right here that today, April 20th, is historically the day or around the time period where altcoins have begun a major melt up. And, he's calling for crazy high targets. So there's a lot of this going around right now. A lot of this kind of rhetoric going around. The biggest altcoin season right now is just about to start. So what conditions need to be met if we're actually going to start this crazy altcoin season that a lot of people are looking for at the moment? Well, one thing, of course, we would need Bitcoin dominance to drop, and we just went over that. It doesn't really look ready to drop right now. It looks like a freight train speed running higher that I wouldn't want to get in the way of, get in front of, right? You don't want to stand in front of a freight train going high speed because you'll end up as a squash bug, right? You don't want that. So I'm not quite sure I would want to get in the way of Bitcoin dominance right now. We also need, same thing as Bitcoin dominance, we need USDT dominance to drop. We need this to drop hard. Remember, our top this cycle has been at 3.8% every time. You guys remember that 3.8% level? Well, it first hit over here in November 2024, early December. It retouched over here in mid-December, and then we went down a bit, and then it hit 3.8% on January 20th, and then we've been on this multi-month uptrend on USDT dominance since January 20th. Now look, my macro target here that will essentially, I'll be calling top, it's down here labeled. It's below that level, right? It's below 3.8, it's at 3.3%. It's a very big drop from the current price or the current percentage at 5.5% to 3.3%, right? We're talking a 40% drop. This is going to send altcoins crazy high. Yes, this is going to be like another bull market again, right? Another altcoin season, another period of time where altcoins heavily outperform Bitcoin when this drop does happen. If and when, of course, right? Because everything is probabilities. But are we ready to make that drop from right here? That's the question we need to be asking, right? If we're going to get this big altcoin season, which I don't know if you can tell from my tone, I don't think it's going to start today, personally. It may, it's all based off of probabilities, but I'm actually still bearish. I still think Bitcoin is likely going to hit 72. However, I'm open to the scenario of that not happening. But anyways, back to USDT dominance. Is it going to roll over from here? Well, first things first, I identified this very, very small order block behind a fair value gap on the 288-minute time frame. All right, this little guy over here caused this reversal and this dump we see in Bitcoin, right? This little candle over here, as you can see, hidden behind this fair value gap. I've had this labeled on the chart now for like, I don't know, a while now. Probably 4, 5, 6 days maybe. But anyways, you can see that the dominance percentage came right down to this level, and we saw a big impulse higher. Now this is well below the uptrend line. And if we go back to the daily, it's very odd how on USDT dominance, the numbers are very different on the time frames, right? The daily, if take a picture of this, a snapshot of this in your mind, these wicks, right? It goes down to 5.44%. Now, if we go to the daily, it actually wicked down to 5.42%. So they're always a bit different. You always have to check the different time frames on USDT dominance, because you can be on a lower time frame and think a level didn't hit, but if you look at the daily, it actually did hit. And I think they do this on purpose to throw people off, to be honest with you. But what do we have? We have a potential breakdown and retest of this breakdown. So in theory, we should see this, bounce off, break and go, bump and run, breakdown, bump, retest the breakdown, and then, continue down. And that certainly may happen here. So the level is lowered if we are going to break down. 5.35%, still a really important level that hasn't been fully kind of utilized, right? There's still fresh levels at 5.3% to 5.34%, 5.35 to 5.34. And then below that, we have 5.5% and then a major previous swing low at 5%. So if we do end up actually following through with this breakdown, retest, and follow through lower, you should have your sights set at 5.35%. This very well could coincide with Bitcoin going up to that previous swing high at $88,000 up here. This previous swing high, super important level that hasn't been hit yet. You can see on Bitcoin, we've just been trading completely sideways for over 1 week straight, with a lot of wicks up here into 85 to 86K. However, price has failed to actually, get above that level. Back to USDT dominance. So yeah, have your eyes on 5.35% lower. Now to the upside, if this is actually going to invalidate this breakdown and go higher instead, which would send Bitcoin lower and send altcoins lower, we want to be looking up here at 5.6% in this red zone. All right, this is the level to look for. Right, this will likely coincide with Bitcoin coming down to around 79K. Now, the doomsday scenario, which really it's actually not a doomsday scenario if you think about it logically and critically and piece everything together, right? Some critical thinking is required. Basically, I've been saying I want to see Bitcoin go down and hit liquidity at 72,000 so it can actually go back and attack the all-time high, having fuel in the gas tank to do so. I think a bottom formed out of here, right? Out of this, essentially it's formed out of nothing. We have nothing to the left really, where the current lows are at 74,000, right? There is a rally-based rally demand level that's held so far that could end up, being a local bottom, and we could pump out of this, but I don't think it's actually going to be a sustained pump where we're going to go make new all-time highs or anything like that. What I've been saying is I want us to hit 72 so that we can actually go and, be able to attack these all-time highs and break above them. So that's the doomsday scenario. It's like I've been saying, it's just down before up. Make no mistake, I am bullish. I think we trade a lot higher, but I want to see us come down here to 72 to actually have a real shot, at seeing us break this all-time high. So that's the doomsday scenario for anyone who's not clear on that. So anyways, 5.6% level higher. If we're going to 72, this is going to spike all the way up here to 6.4 to 6.5%. And you can see I had this labeled for the bottom for altcoins. So most important thing here, if this is actually going to pump, 6.5% is going to be the bottom. You want to buy things at those prices. If you see USDT dominance up here at 6.5%, if we actually continue this breakdown of this uptrend, have your eyes on 5.35%. That should line up with Bitcoin at 88K. And we'll reassess from there, really, because still we don't know which direction this is going to go from here. It's still dead sideways. But the way altcoin charts are looking right now, a lot of them pumping to, higher time frame supply zones. I wouldn't be surprised to see this rug and pump and see everything get sent lower. That's my bias currently. All right, so that's USDT dominance. Now the Bitcoin volatility, the Bitcoin historical volatility index. when it comes to this, it's like the VIX. So it doesn't necessarily give great indication on direction. However, I have noticed by just going through and kind of back testing and things of that nature. Yeah, when this thing is at bottomed or down at support here, typically these moves down into support coincide with the market heading lower. For example, as you can see, after we had a big flush on the weekly, the week of Monday, April 7th, if you do recall, that was the bottom. That's when Bitcoin hit its low. April 7th. That's when many altcoins hit their lows, including Ethereum, April 7th. It did make a slightly lower low on April 9th. It swept that. But if you go through these charts, right, AVAX bottomed out April 7th. Everyone bottomed out on April 7th. So anyways, BVOL, keep an eye on it. Right, if it does end up spiking down, I wouldn't be too surprised to see that coincide with a little bit of a market crash to catch a lot of people off guard. But again, that doesn't give much indication on direction. It really just, it's an indication of when volatility will be coming back to the market. And if it drops down to support, like I said, usually those drops down into support do coincide with, large, we've seen recently large spikes down. So moving on, let's keep going through these majors. The crypto market cap total 2.63 trillion. It looks just like Bitcoin, where it's been sideways for like 8 days straight, continues to bounce off of supply and get rejected from it. It has broken the uptrend line, going back to the all-time high on January 20th. Right, we do have a breakout. We haven't retested it yet. So is it going to retest? It might not, because it already hit its key level down here at 2.38%. Again, Bitcoin's the only chart where it didn't hit that key level on April 7th. Every other major chart did, including USDT dominance. Also, Bitcoin dominance still needs to hit 66%. Remember that. But anyways, in regards to the total market cap chart right here. So again, previous swing highs at 2.68 trillion. This is essentially Bitcoin at $88,800 up here. And lower if we are going to have another market crash. We have to be prepared for both scenarios. Your level's at 2.25 trillion. That's your bottom. This is where you buy everything if you see it, 2.25 trillion. So obviously, it's a bit mixed right now. I don't know if you've been tracking the market yourself, you probably feel a bit mixed as well. Part of you wants to be long everything, and part of you is kind of wary for another market decline potentially. And this is how everyone feels. Look at the charts, right? If we go to the weekly, or even, the weekly shows a good indication, right? The weekly candle right now that's going to close in 5 hours, it's a doji. It's a doji candle. What does a doji candle represent? Indecision. Indecision in the market. Bit of a balance between buyers and sellers because they don't really know which direction this is going to go next. So we have doji candles on the weekly now. It's very undecided. So the scenario, or how to play this and how to plan for this next market move, there's some important things that must be understood. Given the fact that the total 2, others, right, all these major liquidity charts, on April 7th, they all did hit extremely important key levels. So this very well could be, right? And by the way, I don't know if you see a lot of pumps in altcoins right now. It's because they hit this level last week. They got fuel to actually rally. So 2 scenarios. Let's say the bottom is already in, and Bitcoin's going to pump and break out from here, and altcoins are going to send. Well, I already do have spot positioning, right? Back before April 7th, I've shown you before. We took some longs. We put some orders on Tau that didn't hit. We put some orders on Doge. We bought some meme coins on that crash then. Okay, so we do have, say, positioning for the upside. If we dropped, we'll look to buy more. So how do you go about this? I think being positioned in spot is not a bad idea at all. I think that's the correct move. while also having at least some capital to buy in case we dip. Having zero exposure is a bad point right now because I could definitely be wrong and we could rip right here and we could pump and the bears could get sent to the gulag. And if you're completely positioned on a short bias, you're going to miss, a large part of that move up, and you're going to have to flip your bias halfway through. And it's tough being wrong at the start of a move because you need to do a lot of mental reparations to basically fix the mindset to be able to capture the rest of the move. So that's why I think it's smart to have exposure currently in case we do actually rip from here. There's also a decent probability that we get sent to the gulag one last time, the doomsday scenario, which is actually just slightly lower before a really big run up. That's the gist of it. So of course we're going to go over individual altcoins now. But that's the gist of it. That's what everyone, I think, that's the correct mindset to have currently. Right? Essentially, having positions in case the market blasts off, but also just being open to the fact that it's a decent probability it might not be ready to blast off just yet. Anyways, let's get into this live chat and see what's going on. We got Thomas Kefe. He's asking for analysis on Kaspa. For sure, we can look at Kaspa in a moment. And DD is with us today, as well as Armzilla and Uzman Ashraf. What is going on, guys? You really think Bitcoin dominance can get down to 46%? Yeah, like I said, that's like the macro top. And that's best case scenario. That's best case scenario. Do I think it can happen? Yes, it can definitely happen. It's all based off of probabilities again, so it's not a given. It's not certain. But yeah, that's a huge level on the higher time frames. And again, that will likely mark the top of the market when that happens. Matt Campos, he says institutions are bullish on Fartcoin. Is that right? And Thomas says Bitcoin, Kaspa, Tau, my biggest bags. Hopefully everyone's having a blessed Easter. Very nice community. Thank you, Thomas. Happy Easter to you as well. So anyways, let's look at Kaspa for Thomas, as well as anyone else wondering what's going on with Kaz currently. And let's go to our MEXC chart. So same story we've kind of been preaching now on Kaspa for a while now. And we'll look at Tau right after this because Tau's moving right now. There is a zone higher that you should be aware of. But anyways, Kaspa currently. So we have the previous swing high up here, 8.2 cents. Hasn't cleared that. It hasn't closed a daily candle above that. So we essentially don't have a confirmed break of structure, which we need to say that this is bottomed out, where it bottomed out at 5.2 cents. So I would be looking at the 8.2 cent level, which is very close to the current market price. And see if you close a daily candle above that, because that would be a major bullish indication that this is going to pump really hard. We just got a super chat. Thank you, Cryptomaniac925. We will look at that in a moment. He says, happy Easter, Connor. Thank you for going live and sharing your thoughts. Much love to all the crypto empire. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate that super chat, man. But back to Kaspa. So again, have your eyes on the previous swing high up here, 8.2 cents for a daily close above. And that's your signal to basically expect a massive rip. And you want to long, you want to be biased long on pullbacks if that's to happen. Now, the other case is the fact that Kaspa is another chart. Many altcoins hit key levels on April 7th. Kaspa, in my opinion, it didn't, right? Some will say it wicked into it with this wick. However, looking at this, I'm more interested really just below 5 cents. Essentially 4.9 cents to 4.2 cents. That's your juice zone in here. All right, this got front ran. It does have this daily time frame bullish divergence, right? It has the double bottom. It has the RSI making the higher high. However, price likes threes. The market likes threes. What do I mean by that? I wouldn't be too shocked to see something like this create a triple drive, and then it pumps. So again, back to what I was just saying about the current situation and the scenarios and how you should play this. And by the way, I know everyone's looking at this ascending penny here, right? A really tight consolidation. It's coming to the apex with this ascending structure, right? A lot of people are looking for this breakout from here. But anyways, back to like the scenario and the positioning. Kaspa is low, right? It's down, what, 80% or something from the all-time high? It's down 61%. The bottom that I just drew out, if it hits, it would be a minus 77, potentially a minus 80% bottom, which is standard for altcoins. Especially if you look at most coins, they've already went down over 80% from their tops. So how to play this? Again, Kaspa is already at an extreme discount level, and it was really extremely discounted when it was trading between 5 and 6 cents. So yeah, like being a buyer down here, I think you're going to make money. I think this does trade higher, and, potentially crack that all-time high. So if you're in from here, it's not the worst, but just understand you might have to suffer some drawdown before you get that big move up. So don't panic sell a low if it drops 30 to 40%. That's an opportunity to buy more. Because again, I'm bullish, but I just think we may go lower before we go higher. And if we go lower before we go higher and you're like fully convinced we're going to break out right here, right now, and that doesn't happen, don't panic sell if we get it down here. Buy more, and then not financial advice, but I would look to do that. This is my buy zone. I've had outlined for Kaspa for a long time now. I would look to be buying more to ride it higher. All right. That's the situation with Kaz. And basically all coins, aside from the ones that are up like 100% from their bottoms, Kaspa is only up, what, like 30%, 47%. But yeah, regardless, that's how I would be treating like every coin that I'm bullish on. Yeah, we're trading at extreme like discounts from the all-time high. However, we could still actually see another like 30% drop here in the short term. So don't get nervous or scared if that happens. And if you watch this stream, you'll probably be thinking, yeah, I need to buy that dip because we're probably going to rip really hard after this because everything is shaping up to do that. But that is Kaspa. We got a quote from FBS. He says, if you torture the data long enough, it will confess to anything. A quote from 1991 as well as DeFi Weemore. Basically, yeah, the guy's trying to pull things that I'm not sure are quite there. Referencing this tweet that the biggest altcoin season of all time is going to start today. Today, April 20th, it starts, guys. I ain't so sure about that one. It would be a shame if Bitcoin went to 72 before that happened. And by the way, ironically enough, Bitcoin going to 72 like confirms this. I think that the timing is wrong here. Let's look at Tau. So Tau right now on the daily time frame, it's ripping up. Now Tau has led rallies. Tau has, outperformed Bitcoin For example, over here in 2023, it didn't get listed yet on Bybit Perps, but it traded from 50 bucks and it went on its run to 750 to the all-time high. It started, essentially, it led that rally. It started before other coins as well as BTC, really, or in tandem with BTC. So Tau has led the market in the past, and it's kind of doing the same thing right now. It never did come down to 212. It instead tested the monthly open over here on Wednesday, and it's been in a vertical straight line up since then. Now, as you can see, we're coming into some higher time frame levels here. I am going to mark this because this is just like a standard supply zone that I would typically mark over here. And this is at 337 to 359. We have a supply zone. And then just above that, a larger level and then a smaller level within that larger level from 388 to 414. But really, I would be watching this supply zone from 338 to 350, 360. And we want to go ahead and pull our fib from this low that was created on April 7th to the swing high. And we do not necessarily have a fib directly in our zone. Some people like to draw their fibs from the candle bodies, and if they do that here, we can see the 50% is in there at 339 bucks. But not necessarily great fib confluence. If we take this low, we have the 50% right at 350. But anyways, yeah, the fib isn't really crystal clear with confluence. With that, still, I wouldn't try and get in the way of Tau now. What I would be doing personally is I wouldn't try and trade the move now because the long has passed. We're coming into higher time frame resistance up here. So how I would be playing it, how I would look to trade it, is I would first of all wait for Tau to touch supply. I would keep very close tabs on USDT dominance. As you can see, this is dropping once again on the 4 hour. So if Tau is going to pump into supply, we essentially want to look for this to dump into demand. Our level at 5.44% has already been used and abused. So that means the next logical level lower would be at 5.35%. So we want to look for shorts potentially when USDT dominance reaches 5.35%. If we see Tau up here in this supply level, again from 338 to 360, and we see USDT dominance at 5.3%, and we want to be monitoring the lower time frames because we already do have signs of the trend getting weaker up here as price does approach its resistance. We want to look for signs of a top, and we'll see if it goes something like this. Sometimes it will just do a big blow off wick and close in a really long, wick up. That would be a swing failure pattern. That would be another thing to look for, right? Bitcoin has been putting in a lot of those. Scalpers know, right? All these SFPs above this resistance at 85.3K. Right, anyone who's been shorting this level has been scalping successfully all week on BTC. So yeah, that could potentially happen as well for Tau up here, but this is your level to watch for. I wouldn't really go with a limit order. I would be watching it closely and look to enter on a market order up here in supply. When the chart shows on the lower time frames that, whether it's a triple drive, bearish div, big blow off, stop hunt with a long wake up, something to confirm that price wants to reverse. Whatever you use in your system and your trading plan entails. But that's where I would be looking, up here in supply. Put a price label for anyone who's unclear. Really 340 to 350. The rumors are BlackRock is filing for a Fartcoin ETF. Is that a sell the rumor or a buy the rumor? Or do nothing, because it's probably nothing. But anyways, this is still, as you can see, price did go ahead and respect this level over here at 72 cents quite well. Bounced off of it, and we're back in this bull flag here on Fartcoin. We do still have this level higher above $1 that price hasn't reached just yet. Fartcoin, Tau right now, two of the largest or the strongest altcoins in the market currently, especially with some decent market cap behind them. And you know, they've both been performing really well. Fartcoin even more so since bottoming out in March. So still right now, this has been a scalpers only market for the past, say, week. However, that should change soon. So if we're going to break this bull flag and pump into resistance, into supply, yes, I am looking to fade that move. However, I don't have any open resting orders up here because I don't want the market maker to see them. It goes with most things I'm looking to short. Anyways, bull flag. Again, $1 to about $1.15. If that lines up again with USDT dominance coming down here to 5.35%, you got to take a stab. Got to take a stab at a short, in my opinion. And also one thing to note back to the wicks on USDT dominance. So on the daily time frame, this zone down here at 5.35% has not been touched. Or sorry, on the 12-hour. But if we go to the daily, it got touched. The 12-hour didn't. So again, you got to switch up the time frames all the time when you're looking at USDT dominance, because the wicks are different on every time frame. Right? Even on the 4-hour, it didn't touch. On the 2-hour, it didn't touch. On the 1-hour, it didn't touch. But on the daily, it touched. So if you're not looking at the daily, you couldn't think that it didn't hit its level, but it actually did. But there's still, this is partially untested from 5.35 to 5.34. So that's your short level. What is Bitcoin going to do, guys? Let's put a poll out and see what everyone's feeling. Shout out to everyone with the super chats. We'll get to these right now. Let me put out a poll. Let me put out this poll. All right, go ahead and answer this poll in the live chat. Let's see what the audience is feeling today. What's the sentiment? What are we going to do? Pump or dump? And while you guys answer that, let's get into these super chats. We got our first one, or actually our second one of the stream. And Crypto Maniac will look and move as well. I just saw that. But Bob's my uncle with a super chat. Thank you, sir. He says, did you notice gaming popping off? Voxel as well as Keycat? So yes, a few coins for sure. They are popping off currently. E and J as well. Another one. Voxel as well. I have noticed this. Some major pumps. Some major breakouts. Which all started on Friday. But yeah, E and J too, right? So a lot, I have noticed this, right? I did notice E and J mainly, but you brought the other ones to my attention. Anyways, pump right into supply. And Karat too, yeah. And I'm sure there's others that have put in similar, explosive moves out of nowhere here. So what's worrisome, or at least right now, is the fact that these have left really long wicks up. So if they close their daily candles as they are right now, they're still not, like, this is a previous swing high. This is a previous swing high. The previous week over at 7 cents. All right, so that is a close above a previous swing high, but up here is a more important level, I would say. Price did take it here, and you can see a big reversal. Voxel a little better, right? It's above currently. Hit the yearly open to the tick exactly up here at 17.7 cents. So these moves could be preceding what's about to come, which is why I said, like, being totally bearish and convinced it's we're gonna crash, and like being short everything and not having any exposure. It's not the play. It's not the play at all. I think you should definitely be open to the fact that we may just pump from here and get a face-ripping rally for weeks to potentially 1 to 2 months. And everything trades extremely, way higher than it is right now. So these moves could be preceding, a bit of a foreshadowing. However, this is my main thing that I want to use to actually say, not ENJ or Voxel or Karat. It's exciting what's happening there, but the main thing to actually confirm that we're going to be like pumping, we need to see this start to break down. USDT dominance. All right, this is the major liquidity chart in the crypto market. Again, some people might like to pair it up with the USDC as well. USDT dominance plus USDC dominance, which is this chart here at 7.8% of the market. You need to see this liquidity decrease. You need to see stable coins go into altcoins, and that's represented by this going down. And we just don't have that just yet. So yes, Bob, I have noticed these gaming pumps. Not really sure what the reason for it is, other than the fact that they were trading at extreme discounts, and they're basically doing a mean reversion. You can see these are well below the daily 200 EMAs, so well below their means. But it could be the start or just a liquidity grab. These look bottomed out. There's no sugarcoating these charts look bottomed out. So yeah, I mean, again, I would for sure want to have positions in case the market just blasts off, because it really well could. Let's see. Shady Crypto Wizard, he says, I bought at 77. That's low enough. No point trying to buy the absolute bottom in case it never comes. Whether it does or not, we're definitely going to be back over 100K. Well, there's no need to apologize, man, because that's the exact message that I've been trying to get across today, where it's like everything's already trading in extreme discounts. So it's definitely smart to be positioned on the long side. But just don't panic and freak out if we do end up crashing, basically. But yeah, thanks for sharing that, Shady Crypto Wizard. I agree. And let's end our poll. And we actually have a bit of a mixed bag here. But it does appear that most people, the majority of people, are anticipating a pump here first, where Bitcoin's going to go up to 88,000, which is that previous swing high level. Results are kind of split down the middle, but we do have a bias to the long side currently from our live poll. And people are anticipating more so this move up here first to this level. We close above this on the daily. Yeah, we're going to continue. Interesting. But anyways, let's look at move, and then we got a super chat from Benjamin H. He says, "Sup Connor, happy Easter." Thank you, sir. Right back at you. He says, "What are your thoughts on the abstract chain? Do you have your eyes on the memes there? Thanks for this timing. Have a great day." Yeah, we'll look at some abstract memes in a moment, but let's look at move first for Cryptomaniac 925. All right. Well, I didn't expect this when I opened this chart. I haven't looked at move, but this is what we're looking at here. This is what we're working with on move on the daily time frame. These are all-time lows, if I had to guess, with a new coin. All-time low 27 minutes ago. 27 minutes ago, price made an all-time low. Now, I mean, these don't look much different to charts I just opened up, for example. All right, something like E and J. All right, it doesn't look very different from all this, apart from this big candle that happened. It doesn't look very different than this. Doesn't look very different than, say, this. But back to move. You know, that it looks very similar to what I just showed you on all those charts that ended up pumping pretty hard. All right. Interesting. So what I just did, I pulled this fib from this swing low at 58.9 cents to this swing high up here at $1.22. And I wanted to see where this negative 61.8 fib extension would come up on the chart. Well, lo and behold, it's right here at 19.8 cents. The current price is 22 cents. It's very close to this level. And this is really like the only level we have to work with closest to the current market price, because this is a new coin that was created in December and there's no price action to the left down here. So all we can really use is a negative fib in this case. And we're very close to the 61.8 negative fib. So if you're bullish on move and looking to buy, yeah, this is probably where to do it if I had to guess, or it's just a complete dead coin that's not going to do anything and it was just a VC cash grab that will bleed out into nothing. But even if that was the case and it's just a VC cash grab, they are still going to want to sell it higher. By the way, why do I say that? The market cap to the FDV is over 4x. So, you know, there's a lot of tokens that will come onto the market over time that will be sold by the seed round investors, by the team allocation, right? It's all locked up. Still, more likely than not, it's all going to come to market and be market sold. So they're probably going to want to pump it up to sell it at a higher price. Again, all we can do is work with this fib, and it's very close. It's what, less than 10% away from the current market price? Exactly 10% away. So whether it bottoms here, bottoms 10% lower, maybe it wicks through and bottoms 20% lower, it looks very close to a bottom. And with the way I'm looking at things currently, it does appear we might just rip and blast off from here, or we go slightly lower before higher. This is a candidate for being at its bottom or very, very close to it. That's what I'll say about move. But I wouldn't try and play this with leverage. I would do this spot only if I were to be a buyer of this, but I don't plan on doing that right now. Anyways, thank you, Crypto Maniac, for the super chat, sir. We got one from Benjamin H as well as another one, but from Bob's My Uncle. So Benjamin H is asking about abstract and memes on the abstract chain. So first of all, let's do a broad scope and a broad overview of abstract. Let's see where this pops up. Abstract. So it is here. Where is it? All right. Anyways, so it's very low on that list, but the total value locked is very low. It's $16.22 million. So this is a new chain, right? It's the Pudgy Penguins Ethereum Layer 2 abstract. And you can see that the TVL since February has been pretty stable between like 12 and 25 million. And the volume spiked up over here on April 10th, but it's died down significantly since then. So abstract, new chain with very little money on it. So the thesis that a lot of people have on abstract is because it's so new and because it's so small at a $16 million TVL total value locked for the entire blockchain, like if you compare that to some of the top ones like Solana has 7 billion total value locked and Base has 2.8 billion total value locked. This has 16 million. So if this is going to, it doesn't really need to succeed in the long term. I think the guy Luca probably knows that this isn't going to be a long-term thing, but it's a cash grab. It's a quick opportunity, right? You get a bullish crypto market risk on, you get memes traded on the chain, it can blow up and it will be a bubble, right? It's always a bubble in crypto. Besides Bitcoin, everything is essentially a bubble. But this bubble can really, really go super high before it actually does burst because it's still so small at a 16 million total value locked. Now, some of the big memes on the chain, there's coins like Abster, right? A lot of the charts look like this. At least the top memes, they've all been on a quiet run up, right? This was trading at a 500K market cap in February. It pumped up to 20 million. That's a 40x. It's currently trading at 10 million, which is a 20x from where it was in February. All right, some consider this to be the top meme on the chain at a 10 million market cap. And, you know, they're essentially looking for this to continue to do a parabolic blow off top rally. There's other ones like Newt, which is at 13 million. All right, this one's super popular among some communities out there. Right, some communities are really large bag holders of this coin. Similar looking chart, where if you look at this thing back in February, it was low. It wasn't really doing too much, trading for like a 2 million market cap. And then over here, February 21st, it's like someone put out a buy call and it just hasn't come down from that since. And it's up here. It did hit 24 million and it's currently at 13.7. So it's down 50% from that high, 42% from that high. And there's a lot of other memes on abstract that have similar charts, right? All of the good ones have a similar chart where, you know, they were all brand new in February when the chain was brand new and they all caught some demand and they're all trading around 10 million now. So anyways, with abstract, I think there is a chance that, again, because it's so low at a 16 million TVL, it sees a big influx of capital, and you get a few of these meme coins go to crazy high numbers, like hundreds of millions in market cap. That's definitely a plausibility. And again, that would need to line up with this dropping USDT dominance, and this is going to drop. It's not a matter of if, but more of a matter of when, right? Whether it goes up here first and then drops, or whether it just continues to drop from here. But anyways, the question, any eyes on the memes there? Yeah, I just went through two of them. Eyes on those. And if you play it correctly, there could be a lot of money to be made there. I mean, they are meme coins. They're super high risk, but they're still in their infancy because they were made in February. They are up massive multiples from them, but still, with how small the chain is, they could boom. Something to consider for sure. And this one big. This was like some kind of Ponzi scheme where I'm pretty sure it gave reflections or something. I don't know, but a lot of people were into this within the first week, and then as you can see, someone bought it super early, or it was just a team or the insiders themselves. They just took a cash out, and it's sitting there. But yeah, abstract, new chain, new memes, could be a big one for this next boom we see in the market. And it's really just dependent on when this boom starts. So look, if you're bullish on abstract and you do get the scenario where USDT dominance goes up here to 6.5%, and you see those memes down at like 2 million market cap again or something, well, that's when you like, if you want to buy them, that's when like you have to, because your system, my system in this case, it's saying you need to buy it at this point. So if you get that, that's probably going to be a generational entry, but time will tell. Let's see. Bob's my uncle. Does Wild look ready to pump like the other games? Bob, I would say yes, it does. I would say it does look. I mean, it looks very similar to all the other charts we just looked at in terms of the gaming charts, right? Again, stuff like ENJ, Voxel. It looks quite similar to something like Wild. It does. We'll see if the market makers want to troll or not. Right? If they do want to troll, they'll do this. If they don't want to troll, they'll probably do something like this. But again, everything's trading at higher time frame, extreme discounted levels. It's either bottomed or very close to a bottom. When I say very close, that could mean another 30% decline. Understand that. But there's also a decent probability it doesn't happen and we just rip. But Bob, to answer the question, yes, it looks very similar to the other charts. And it's really just trading in this range between 15.7 cents and 11.2 cents. And it appears to be right at the equilibrium, the 50% of the range. Let's confirm that. Confirmed, right at the equilibrium. This green line here. But yeah, to answer the question, Bob, it does look ready to pump like the other games. It has the same market structure that I'm seeing, at least, while also being below on the weekly time frame. It's made new all-time lows. It's below the lows from July or June of 2022, below the previous bear market lows. Extremely oversold. Extreme discount levels. The only thing worrying is the fact that it actually closed a weekly candle below, the wick lows, right? So that's an extremely bearish break in market structure. I'm not sure that should be ignored, right? This is, a lot of people overlook something as basic as the fact that this weekly candle here from the week of March 31st, it closed below the previous bear market lows on the weekly time frame. That's a confirmed sign of weakness. So I'm not sure this would be a candidate of a coin that you want to put capital into, but that's just something to consider on your own. Right, for example, something like ENJ didn't close below its previous levels. Voxel did, but it's struggling hard. But anyways, just to answer the question and keep the live stream moving, yes, I'd say it's very likely close to its bottom or already at it. And yeah, you either have a bag now or you don't. And if it pumps, you're positioned. If it dumps, you buy more. It's really the only way to go about these coins right now. Anyways, Kaspa Jeremy says, my guy sold the bottom. No. If you're referencing Kaspa, I did sell it when price broke beneath this structure. As you can see, we had a weekly close beneath these lows. So yeah, anyways, we'll see if it hits my level or not. I'd love to see that, but even if it doesn't, I'll still be fine without holding Kaspa. I'm positioned in other coins. And yeah, probably more than your Kaspa bag. Anyways, a lot of chatter today in the live chat, guys. Appreciate you all being here. Smash up that like button. Shout out to Trucker Steve, my man Trucker Steve, keeping America moving, my man. Thank you for being here, and happy Easter to you as well. Let's see what else. We got Eric. What's going on, Eric? Johnny G in the building. What's up, Johnny? Adrian Kent. What's going on? We got Manny Adachi. What's up, Manny? JC got 72K, got front ran. Everyone looking for that level. Doubt it comes. That's a common thought among many crypto market participants right now. Will that be validated, that thought? Time will tell right now. Again, here's Bitcoin on the 4-hour trading dead sideways in a very, very tight range, with the weekly candle close now coming in 4.5 hours. So I think we'll have an answer soon. Pump swap, going to change lives. Pump funds token. Is this it with the dog logo? Maybe. Maybe, John. I wish you all the best with that investment. And let's see. Crypto Maniac says, hopefully we drop below 72K, super discounts. I mean, hopefully, but the more time that passes here, the more time, or the more I think it's less likely to happen. I thought it would have happened by now personally, but it's just sitting there. It will hit, right? Whether price wants to do this first, or maybe it wants to touch 100K first, it will hit. Make no mistake, that liquidity will get tested. It's just a matter of if. Or sorry, just a matter of when. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. Shout out to Michelle Shepard saying happy Easter. Dynasty is confused on why I'm saying Bitcoin, there's a large possibility it goes to 72. Yeah, I've explained the reasoning for that in detail a lot, so I think you're completely like confused. I understand what you're saying, but you're either trolling or confused. And still bullish on anyone. So like most altcoins, unfortunately, got smashed into the ground. Now, can this make a comeback? That's the $1 million question. So I think in terms of an idea, it's a great idea. Like many crypto projects, early stage startups, you know, they're good ideas. But is it a sustainable token model, and is the market also going to agree on the fact it's a good idea, and you know, is there going to be real demand for it? Now, it is subject to the tides of the crypto market. Do I think it can make a comeback? New all-time high from 23 cents back to $2. It's possible. Crazier things have happened. What's the market cap? 22 million, right? So it's a micro. I think there's a very strong chance it does pump out of this. It just depends how high that pump goes. And this goes with every single altcoin that every single person is holding watching this live stream. I've certainly made the mistake in the past of not taking into account the major liquidity charts when it comes to individual altcoin holdings. And that's a very costly mistake. So again, I think anyone is going to break out of that bottom and pump. So when it does, if we do get this major swing and we come down here to 4.3, 3.8 again, maybe we hit that 3.3% level. I simply would just be looking to get out and sell when these levels are hit. Every coin you're holding. Some of them may be a special outlier and go up more than the rest, but they usually all top when the major liquidity charts hit their levels. And if you don't believe me, go and back test it and look what happened over the past 2 years when this chart hit its levels lower. It was the top of the market every single time. So I'm not making this stuff up. As well in March. Where did March top out? 3.8%. Where did November, December top out? 3.8%. Where did January 20th top out? 3.8%. Where did every single altcoin top out? When this was at 3.8%. So, yeah, any one protocol, Tau, Kaspa, Cubic, Render, Move, Pepe, Shiba Inu, whatever the heck the coin is, this is the most important chart. Hugo C says Keycat, please. No update on Keyboard Cat. As you can see, still in our green demand level. Still there. And it hit this supply zone that was left behind inside of a fair value gap over here at 13 million. It did hit that in March. So that hit its key level. So it's a good chance, again, this is bottomed. Keyboard Cat, it's still trading at extreme discounts. The scary part is, though, if it even wants to retest that bottom, it's a 50% drop. That's the thing with memes, right? It's 50% to this bottom lower. If it just wants to put it in a double bottom, which would be this. I'm not even talking about breaking the lows. That could happen, but the fact that it hit this level already, it tells me there's a really good chance that it's done dumping and it wants to pump. So again, Keycat, Miggles. I haven't changed my rhetoric in a long time now on these coins, right? They're all in their buy levels. All of them. Let's see. So in regards to some news right now, let's go over what's happening on the geopolitical front, as well as with Trump in the White House. So the recent news is that Trump wants to fire Jerome Powell. He wants him out. Trump doesn't want Powell to be the Fed chair, to be in charge, right, of the Federal Reserve. In charge. Hopefully you guys get the reference. But anyways, certainly something to keep a watchful eye on right now, because this could be a reason things shake up a bit over the next few days, weeks. If Trump fires Powell, that may cause some crazy volatility event. Now, in regards to the tariffs, it looks like Ford did suspend shipments of F-150 trucks. France is saying the dollar would lose credibility if Trump fired Jerome Powell. And South Korea says they ain't going to play with Trump and they're going to go along with things. So not really too much has changed on the geopolitical macro front besides the fact that Jerome Powell might get fired by Trump. And here's Watcher Guru tweeting out the price on Easter of Bitcoin since 2012, I should say. Not its inception, but 2012. But yeah, not really too much has changed there. Moving on, some other pieces of news. So anyone on base been farming the treble swap airdrop? So you can see they tweeted out today. If you are active, you will earn more than just yield. Every swap, stake, volt, and LP action brings you closer to your share of the XTREB airdrop. So before someone asked me in the chat, yes, my thoughts haven't changed since 2 days ago, my last live stream on Treble Swap. I still like the coin. I still like the project. I still think it's the best DEX on base. Objectively, right? Not subjectively. First version 4. Uniswap is V4 now, but for some reason, every other DEX, all the other Uniswap forks, why don't they have V4? Interesting. The most up-to-date modern technology in DeFi. Why don't they use it? Why is Treble the only one bringing it to the table? Makes you really question and wonder what the heck these other teams are doing and why they don't innovate and actually like do things to make things better. I don't know. That's what I think about it, at least. But anyways, start using Treble if you haven't already. You can get an airdrop if you are using it. Also, in terms of Atlantis, so they hit 10,000 NFTs minted and 200,000 swaps executed, which is a lot. And because I went ahead and I did a mint in the last stream and I got the Emerald tablet, I went ahead and did 20 more swaps so I can mint another NFT. Again, this is on testnet. It's not real money. It's not real funds. It's all Monad testnet, but it's still pretty fun to do. So let's go mint an NFT again because I have 20 swaps complete. And we'll confirm. Let's see what we get. It looks like I just got a dupe, which really sucks. I now have 2 of these when I need to get this one and this one to complete the set of 5. So that blows, but such is life, and at least I got the super rare ones out of the way already. But yeah, I mean, 11.5k mints, it's huge. That's a lot of people minting this. I think this project's going to be a big hit on Monad when it goes live again because it's objectively better than the other DEXs. But yeah, that's unfortunate. We got a dupe. Let's see. Lucas, thoughts on prompt wayfinder? No thoughts on that one. I'm not really too familiar with it. Brand new coin. So it's with these brand new coins, it's currently respecting the golden pocket. I don't really have any thoughts on this. Such a brand new coin, new chart. I can't really speak on this one, Lucas. And degen target for Tau. I mean, the degen target is like moon boy numbers. If there's going to be like an AI super bubble or something like that. But what we can do is we can take this top to this bottom. And the 61.8 extension. Just gonna reverse this. Let's see, that is 690. And let's see. So you can see this green box I have marked. It's from $1,050 to $1,200. And I got that by doing this, I believe. There's too many fibs on this chart. 1 second. I got a fib here and a fib there and a fib everywhere at the moment. Just got to get everything off this chart in the meantime. There we go. So if we take the first all-time high at 756 down to the low it made on August 5th of 2024, we have our 61.8 extension right here at $1,125. It's hard to overlook this, right? It is hard to overlook that. And then the negative 1618 is at $1,700. So the Moon Boy degen targets would be Tau $10,000 per Tau, all the way up here. Right, you see the super zoomed out charts on Twitter and the big arrow up here. Remember that guy Sefri from the Luna days? Every day he would post a chart of Luna like this and he would get like 5,000 likes, all the lunatics saying, yeah. You know, that's the degen target up here. I'm not quite sure that happens at this current moment in time. And I'd more so be looking towards these. A bit more down to earth, you can say. Let's see. Richie, he says, Bitcoin dominance target is 46%. When do you plan to take profits? On the way there and at 46%. I wouldn't be waiting for after that fact, because as you've seen, when those big liquidity charts hit those levels, they hit the level and that's it. Like that's it. You don't get another chance to sell that top again. It's a one and done opportunity basically. Shout out to the Silva Dalla. What is going on? He says, happy 420, lighting up them blunts. Wagwan. My man Silva Dalla. Enjoy the day, brother. Appreciate the support. And we got a super chat from Meat Angel. What's going on, Meat Angel? What is your take on the Root token and the future of NFTs on Futureverse? Well, first of all, thank you for the super chat. So the Root network This is familiar because I know this from years ago. Let me refresh my memory. It's a gaming thing, right? Mm-hmm. This was it connected to this one? To wait? To Hourglass or not? I might be mistaken. I might not know what I'm talking about with these coins because I remember them from 2023, but I haven't really checked up on them since. But Root Network, I think I remember Crypto Sivo shilling this one. My memory is kind of outdated on this coin. So what might happen, Bob's my uncle, if you're still watching the stream, my friend, with those gaming tokens that pumped, right? The reason I was expressing a little bit of worry was, this can happen from time to time, right? Look at this daily candle. Mega pump. But it just Burj Khalifa and it just left wicks. It was just a liquidity grab. So interesting to see this example now after earlier, looking at other coins, for example, ENJ today doing a similar type of move, Karat doing a similar type of move when Root did it a few days ago, and we see how that one ended up. It's just a big buy on spot. Someone market bought a ton of it. This is the spot chart. But anyways, let's answer the question. What is your take on the Root token and the future of NFTs? So clearly my take is it's the market take, and it's that, the market isn't really interested in this coin or NFTs or the future of NFTs or anything right now. Market's not interested currently. However, this one has not closed below the low on the chart, which is a good sign, right? We looked at Wilder World. It did close below the low. This one hasn't. The problem with these low cap gaming coins, like in the bear market in 2022, all right, gaming was, everyone wanted gaming coins. Gaming's going to be the big thing. It's going to happen. And it was largely a major disappointment aside from a few select coins such as, say, Nakamoto Games and things like that. Gaming pumped essentially at the end of 2023, and that was it. When did this pump? The end of 2023 into March 2024. Right? End of 2023 into March 2024, the whole entire market popped. Gaming hasn't done anything since. No gaming coin has. Everything's been on the decline since March 2024. So my take on the future of Root is I'm not particularly bullish on the future of the Root network and Futureverse and the NFTs and everything like that. It's just, I'm not a buyer. I'm not the audience for this type of coin. What would change that for most people would be a big green candle. Everyone would get FOMO. Oh my God, I got to buy Root. The future of NFTs is crazy, so good. Right? That's what everyone would be saying if we get a big green candle. So if you want to front run that potentially and take a risk, it's extremely oversold. Extreme discount. And someone just bought a huge spot bag this week and pushed the price up, and then it got sold off. Was that manipulation, or was that someone who knows something buying a major spot bag, market buy, for a potential upcoming pump? I'm really not sure, but yeah. If you want to buy, it's not at a bad point, but I'm not sure you'll ever see demand come in for it. Anyways, lads, we got Kaido King. What kind of music do I listen to? It really depends. I like 70s, 80s, 90s rock. I like hip hop if I'm, in the mood for that. When I'm just looking at charts and just like doing analysis, I like no lyric, like classical music. Helps you think, right? Those brainwaves. But yeah, I'd say I'm mainly an old school rock kind of guy. On that note, guys, happy Easter. Again, the plan right now is be positioned. Be positioned for a pump, but don't get scared if we dump. And if we dump, that's going to be another generational opportunity because this market will trade a lot higher. Just a matter of when and if we dump first before doing that. So it's very smart to have exposure. This way you're not caught off sides if it pumps. But just be open to the possibility of it actually dumping first before pumping. And that would wreck a lot of people right now because a lot of people right now think we are at the start of the biggest altcoin season ever. And it's 420, it's Doge Day, it's also Easter Sunday. Is Elon going to pump these markets or not? Nobody really knows. We've been trading sideways for 8 days straight on Bitcoin. The only thing to do is be prepared for both directions. That's it. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Smash up the like button. Happy Easter Sunday, and I'll see you all very soon. My name is Connor from Crypto Empire. Subscribe if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, and have a great weekend and a happy Easter. Signing out.